Hello, let's talk about books. Now, my camera says I have half battery, and if it makes it to the end of this video, I'm going to be shocked. So, let's just talk about books. If you're interested in the TLDR version of this, by which I mean condensed Substack newsletter version, the links for that will be below. I missed the last one because of life, but hopefully life will slow down and I can continue to do those, because some people just cannot sit through a YouTube video, and I feel you. I just want to hear sometimes, should I read it? Should I not read it? It has been some time since I filmed one of these videos. It's some time since I read some of these books, so bear with me. I did take note. First one in this list is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. This won the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2020. It's got a little sticker there to tell me that. And it also has some bite marks from my cat, so I guess it gets her nom of approval. I read it because one of my book clubs read it, and I liked it, and I really have to be cagey about that because overall I did like it. I gave it 3.5 stars, which is, it's up there on my rating scale, although this year so far I've given so many books 4 stars. What is wrong with me? Maybe I'm picking good books this year. Maybe I'm just, my cold dead shriveled heart has expanded and warmed up. Who can say? Anyway, I'm avoiding talking about this book because a big part of it was a massive thanks, I hate it. The premise is that William Shakespeare had a wife and a family that he left at home while he went to London to be a playwright and a stage player. And this is the story of his wife, who in the book is called Agnes. Agnes? Yeah. She's not always called Agnes in historical record, but in the book she's called Agnes. And she's at home with Shakespeare's mum and dad. She lives in a literally attached apartment to their house with her kids, an older girl, and then twins, a boy and a girl. My cat is doing something naughty. I'll be back. Boy, what are you doing? Okay, so Agnes is still in Stratford upon Avon, raising the children by herself. And the story starts out with Hamnet, the titular character, about to die. And that's not a spoiler. One, because it's based on real people and people die, but two, it says it right up in the front. In fact, I might even say it on the blurb. Yes, neither parent knows that Hamnet will not survive the week. It is a story about a woman's expectations versus reality, Instagram versus reality, of how she thinks her life's going to go when she finds someone to make babies with, and then the reality of raising a family, being married. It's about the way your life unfolds versus the expectations that you had for your life, and how we all have to come to terms that it's going to be shitter than we thought and get mired in the everyday rather than just be sex in the Apple store all the time. I really did not like the part where Shakespeare is never named. He's always the husband, the lover, the teacher, the student, the father, the son. He's never Willie Shakes. That pissed me off. There is no reason not to name that character in the book when you are selling the book. It's about William Shakespeare's missus. I hate it so much. I also really hate that Agnes is a manic pixie dream wife, in that there's magical realism around her. She can tell people's futures by touching them. That does not need to be there. Why does she need to have a magical power in order to tell a compelling tale about a woman's life? Yeah, I'm so mad about it because the book otherwise is so good. Of course Hamnet dies, that's not a spoiler, and the exploration of Agnes's grief at what her life has come to, and then grief about surviving a child, is brilliant, and that's why it won the Women's Prize, I'm sure. But the Oh, and another thing I got pissed off at, and it's really, really small, is there's a part where the plague comes to town and a doctor comes, and Agnes is pissed off about this because she's manic pixie dream wife. She knows herbs in the forest. She can cure it without needing a doctor. But the doctor wears a plague mask. And in the 17th century, in a little town in England, there is no way that they would know about plague masks. No way that they would be wearing plague masks. That's like the smallest detail to be mad at, but I was already mad at the book. Alright, I'm a duck. I did give it 3.5 stars. I did really like it, except for those bits that really pissed me off. Shall we move on? Next up is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This was another read from another book club, but I was going to read it anyway because everybody's talking about it. It's the story of an orc who gives up adventuring to open a coffee shop in a town that's never heard of coffee. My cat is continuing to be naughty. So she's selling this gnomish bean water to citizens in a town that have never heard of coffee, and it's about the friends we make along the way. It literally says high fantasy, low stakes, good company. It's literally about the journey of found family, cozy vibes, coffee. Like, you'll want to drink coffee even though it's 10 p.m. You'll want to drink coffee even though you don't like coffee. It's those vibes. It was ultimately a disappointment because there were no stakes. It was just, even when the bad thing happens, it wasn't so, like, it was bad, but it wasn't unrecoverable because it's low stakes. They all pitched in, fixed the problem, got on with it. It felt actually very video game, where you start out, you want to open a cafe, so you've got your dilapidated site, and then you have to do like small tasks to build the site, to add, you know, fit it out, put in some decoration, put in the coffee machine, serve customers. Then the next level, serve more customers, employ a staff member. The next level, serve more customers, add another element of things you're selling, add another staff member. My battery's flashing now. So I just kind of leveled up in that video game sort of way, those vibes. I gave it 3 stars, perfectly cromulent. I stand by it. Let's switch that battery. The next was Lord of Chaos by Robert Jordan. I listened to this. It is book 6 in the Wheel of Time series. I'm nearly halfway. Nearly halfway. There's 14 books overall. So there's not really much that I can tell you about this one that's not spoilery, because we are so far into the storyline. But the Wheel of Time has moved from kids who have left a little backwater farm community and gone out into the wide world. It's left that adventure story, and now it's come into political intrigue. So all of the main characters that we've known from the beginning, who are still alive, have come into positions of power and respect and coming into themselves as leaders in the world. And is all of this completely unbelievable? Yes. Maybe except for one who goes back to his home community and becomes a leader there. The rest of them, it's epic fantasy, and we're just gonna ride that plot train, right? Yes. By the end of this book, all of the characters have been set up in positions of power. It makes it feel like this is where they're going to be for the second half of the series, but there's still thousands of pages to go, so things might change, but that's where it feels like we are at the end of this book. Chatty G wrote me a synopsis. I can read that to you, and that will tell you where we're at to. The story continues to follow the journey of Randall Thor and his companions from the Two Rivers as they navigate the political landscape and fight against the forces of the Dark One. In this book, Rand struggles with his own identity and the weight of his destiny, while also dealing with challenges from various factions who seek to control him. That does happen. Meanwhile, the Aes Sedai, which is the faction of mages, female mages, face their own internal struggles and and power struggles as they try to navigate a shifting political landscape. The story is full of action, political intrigue, and magical battles, and sets the stage for the epic conclusion of the series. Which is what I told you. Me and Chatty G were on the same page. My main quibble here is, again, the portrayal of women and relationships with women. Rand in particular, from the outset, has been set up to have 3 women important in his life, and those 3 women are coming to the conclusion that they have to romantically share him. And thanks, I hate it. Why? Why does this need to happen? Why does Rand, being the chosen one, get to have 3 women at his beck and call and just swap between them, which has happened so far? What? I guess it's fulfilling some fantasy on the part of the author, and it's harder than it looks for Rand because he doesn't understand that these women have all decided just to share him, and he has to suck it up. But he's willingly sucking it up. And I hate it. There's no reason for it except wish fulfillment. Are you right? I'm trying to talk. So anyway, I hate that part. The rest of it's really good. I'm reading the next book right now, book 7, and it's good. I will continue to read to the end. Next is the Bookbinder of Jericho by Pip Williams. Oh, what's this in the back? A receipt from my daughter's high school. Okay. Alright, the Bookbinder of Jericho by Pip Williams, which came out this year. I didn't say the other years of other books. I forgot. Pip Williams wrote the Dictionary of Lost Words, and this is a companion book. It does say that on the front, this fake sticker. The companion novel to the international bestseller, The Dictionary of Lost Words. This was better. This was absolutely better. You don't need to have read the Dictionary of Lost Words to read and enjoy this one. There are crossover characters and crossover storyline, but the main character of Dictionary and the main character of this book meet one. This one is about Peggy and her sister Maud, who are twins, and Maud has clearly an intellectual disability, and so when their mum dies, when the girls are teenagers, Peggy takes on the task of looking after Maud. And then we get to the war. The girls are in their early 20s now, and they are growing up and finding out through the interactions of what they do for work in the war and the people that they meet during the war, because of the war, they basically learn and grow. And the girls work in the bindery of the Oxford University Press, so a lot of the metaphor is the books. And then there's one line that in particular gives away the entire plot of the story, but I will, not the plot, the entire theme of the story that I will read to you. So Peggy's in a library and she picks up a book that was an Oxford World's Classics edition. So it's one that she and her sister and her mum have bound. They don't bind it, they do the folding. They're not allowed to bind, the men do that. Anyway, Peggy picks up this book and she says it's the book was similar to one that she owned and similarly worn from constant handling. There were differences, blah blah blah. When we bound these books, I thought they were identical, but I realized they couldn't stay that way. As soon as someone cracks the spine, a book develops a character all on its own. What impresses or concerns one reader is never the same as what impresses or concerns all others. So each book once read will fall open at a different place. Each book once read, I realized, will have told a slightly different story. And they're identical twins. What could the metaphor be? Honestly, so I really, really enjoyed it. It is a historical fiction. It's not fantasy at all. And I probably gave it 4 stars. I haven't written it down, but I imagine that I did because I really liked it. Let's check. I'm sitting here literally in front of the internet. I could ask the internet. 4 stars. Highly recommend. If you like stories about women, if you like stories about historical fiction, if you liked the Dictionary of Lost Words. And finally, there's a book that I seem to be reading every year, and that is Persuasion by Jane Austen. I've read this I reckon 11, 12 times, and every time I find something new, which is why it's a classic, isn't it? If it holds up to criticism and interrogation and holds up to a reread and gives you something new every time, that's a classic. If you are not aware, Persuasion is it was published in 1817, and it is about social class and society and family and relationships, and it centers around a woman named Anne Elliot who had been engaged to Frederick Wentworth and was persuaded to break off the engagement because Wentworth didn't have the money or the cultural capital to be considered a worthy candidate for her hand. He got the shits, obviously, skips town, and Anne has to sit with her feelings and the choices that she made. Eventually, they are reunited and admit that they still love each other and to get married. The end. But you know, it's Austen, so it's not just that story. It's a sophisticated look at social norms and expectations of that time, of what is to be a woman and a single woman in society that requires you to have charm and beauty, and Anne's past that. She's 27 and she's past her prime. What do you do with that sort of woman? But also Anne, undervalued in her own family, but finding value in friendships and other families and other circles, and coming into her own. Maybe that's a theme of what I've been reading, is women who are finding their path in the world and living with the choices they have made that have brought them to this point. Except for bloody Randall Thor. Rightio, so that's another 5 books that I read this year. Thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing, or just, you know, pop back sometime. That would be really lovely. I'd love to see you. Comment below what you have been reading, because nobody tells me what they've been reading, and I really need to add to my TBR. It's really quite short. Not quite short, it's really quite long, as it should be. What else should I tell you? Link to the Substack is below, link to my Amazon wishlist is below. Thank you so much to people who have been purchasing things off that wish list. It's such a joy to get unexpected book mail. Book mail is just lovely in general, and if you send me a book, it will go to the top of the queue, I promise. In fact, next episode there's 3 that people have bought me from that wish list, and I will see you next time. Bye.